Hey, what's up everyone? The watch this video for Tuesday, May 4th, showing you the SPY. Gapped up today, but kind of sold off throughout the day. There it is. Kind of a slow, again, kind of a narrow range day. Couple highlights from the room though. Keep in mind, we just focus on stocks that are in play and then look for A+ intraday setup. So ISNS was already on watch because I'll take today's candle out of it, right? We already had this in the video last night. Said I want to watch this one today. If you're ever curious, if you're not in the chat room, you're ever curious what a typical entry looks like. Well, this was on watch. So then we go to 5-minute candles and just a simple opening range breakout. It topped out at 614 here, sold off a little bit, curled back up. The thinking is a high of day break. You might just rip through yesterday's high. I mean, it did a lot more than that, didn't it? Unbelievable. Hats off to Ramesh, because I don't know if I would have seen this, Ramesh in the chat room, if he didn't post this. When it looked about like this, I was able to get that high of day break. And it gave a few pullback plays on top of that. This was probably my biggest winner of the day, but I still, and I always say this, I still feel like a schmuck at the end of every trading day. And if you've traded for any length of time, I'll be shocked if you've ever ended a day where you didn't feel like a schmuck. Even if you have your biggest day of your life, you're still going to look back and go, man, I screwed that one up, or man, I missed that one. Or, you know, you're always going to leave money on the table. You're always going to miss a big one. You got to get used to that and just learn to laugh at it. As long as you're taking your piece of the pie every single day, that's what you need to do. And, you know, of course, always try to get better. But that was a great heads up by Ramesh, straight off our watch list video. PRPO, hats off to Tom CL in chat. This was on the, it was not on the gap playlist because it didn't gap. I'll show you how it ended up on the list. Is pretty much right at the open. It had news. It had unusual volume. I mean, look at these. These are 5-minute candles. Look at the volume on all of these candles, or all of these volume sticks versus the last several days, right? I mean, it just dwarfs it. So you know it's having a huge volume day. It also topped out at 250, half number inflection point. When it came back up, Tom CL posted the 250 break idea, which I wholeheartedly agreed with. Broke 250 and ended up going up almost to 5. And I think in after hours, this thing went almost to 8. So another one of those that ran in after hours too. If you were hanging around, you might have caught trading it there. Anyway, we're going to watch this one tomorrow. We're also going to watch that, well, no, ISNS, I'm not probably. ISNS, I mentioned it had earnings after hours. And so it went out in after hours at 9:40. Probably worth having on a chart somewhere. As I'm talking, I'm going to go ahead and throw it on a chart to make sure I'm watching it. But looks like it's probably going to gap down from that big rip today because, you know, no matter what the earnings were, they'd probably not justify the rip that this thing had, right? All right, anyway, so let's get to the watch list. PRPO. Just going to watch that tomorrow for some kind of setup, just like I showed you that we had a couple today. OCGN. Ended up on our gap playlist because it gapped up above the catalyst I mentioned in the video last night. But you know what? It's still pretty strong. Maybe it pushed through 16 tomorrow, knowing that today's high was 1620. We'll see if it sets up at all, right? RHE, huge rip today. We're going to watch that one tomorrow. It's way extended, but still interesting, right? Did it top out at exactly 16? No. Went to 1609. Anyway, we're going to watch that one. Again, trying to focus on the stocks that are in play, the recent high flyers, if you will, and then focusing on intraday setups. That is how I make my living. AMS, big volume day for this one and a fairly strong close. Skills is just another day lower, right? This had a huge move from 12 to almost 22. Has been bleeding lower for about a week. I definitely think this is worth watching. It didn't give a setup today. Didn't give a setup last week either when I was watching it, I don't think. But what I'd like to see is a narrow range and a break of its early high in the afternoon. Could get a nice turn back up if that happens. So skills goes on a chart. TIRX, don't like this one very much, but I talked about it in the video coming into today. It went from 1320 to 2265 in one day. And a lot like skills, it's kind of bleeding lower every day. I'll show you 15-minute candles. And you'll notice that since the big move the next day, this was the early high in the opening 15 minutes, right? Never broke it. Same thing with the next day, and today. So again, I'd like to see it break its early high. Like, for example, if today this would have gone sideways all day and then in the afternoon broke above this 1558, I would have been long, right? But you notice it never broke that early high. So that's really what I'm looking for in skills, SKLZ and TIRX. First Solar FSLR has fallen from 90 to under 75 at one point today. It went down to about 74. So I'm going to put this on bounce watch. It's pretty good sell-off in just a few days. So we'll watch for one of our bounce play entries. NVAX kind of got ugly today. It was on bounce watch recently, and now it kind of got ugly today. But definitely has some support down in this area. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it gives a bounce. But I don't love this one. I don't really like trading $200 stocks because I have to do a bunch of math in my head and figure out how many shares to buy, because usually the risk on something like that is $1.50, $2, or even $3 sometimes, depending on the chart setup. And my brain can't get my head around that really that easily because I'm used to trading lower, stocks lower priced. Let me try that again. Priced lower than that. But anyway, I want to watch it. XXII, excuse me, it's had a big move from 3 to 6 in a little over a week's time. Now it's kind of bleeding lower and found its way down to the 20-day today. I'm going to watch that for a bounce tomorrow. PXS, I saw a few shippers running today. This one closed stronger than most, I would say. So we're going to watch that for a follow-through day. And then lastly, YGMZ, kind of a sleeper pick, but decent volume today for this stock. Seems like it's putting kind of a long base here, so maybe it's up from here. Had a massive move back here, so there's a lot of bag holders, but maybe a lot of them are gone now. It's kind of interesting. Back here, it had a high volume day. This was, let me give you the date, April 1st. And so now we're into May, and it's curling up again. Today's high, 569. The April 1st high, 626. So we'll see. I like it over today's high. Maybe it'll make a run at this high. Maybe it'll gap down $3. I don't know, but we're going to watch it tomorrow. And I'm going to leave it at that. We'll add gappers to this list as well. And I'm done babbling. We'll see everybody in the chat room in the morning.